Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking what might normally seem like a pretty dry, dusty dictionary definition and transforming it into a really fascinating linguistic journey. We're going to unpack one single, highly expressive word and see just how deeply it connects to our everyday, shared human experience. Trust me, it's more powerful than you might think. So let me ask you, have you ever felt completely overlooked in a crowd? You know the exact feeling I'm talking about. You're standing right there in the room, maybe at a big networking event or a party, but it's as if you're entirely invisible. You physically exist in that space, but somehow nobody notices you at all. Well, the English language actually has a very specific word that perfectly captures that exact, deeply uncomfortable sensation. Okay, let's dive into this. The word we are talking about is nonentity, pronounced nonentity. It functions as a noun, and it means a person or thing that is unimportant or undistinguished, basically a nobody. It is literally the ultimate linguistic label for that invisible, totally overlooked feeling we just talked about. Now, the rhythm of a word is absolutely crucial if you want to truly own it in your everyday vocabulary. Nonentity has exactly 4 syllables, with the emphasis hitting hard right on the second one, nonentity. Go ahead and say it out loud. It has this distinct, almost bouncy cadence that gives it a real punch when you drop it into a conversation. Let's play word detective for a second and peel back the etymological layers here. We start with the Latin prefix non, which simply means not. Then we combine that with our base word, entity, meaning a thing that exists. Smashed together, a non-entity literally translates to a not thing. I mean, think about how profound that is. When someone is treated this way, they aren't just being ignored. Linguistically speaking, they're being treated as if they don't even exist. To really wrap our heads around how this word actually functions out in the wild, we can look at its structure using the archipelago metaphor. Just like a geographical archipelago is a chain of interconnected islands, the meaning of nonentity spans across different islands of thought. It smoothly transitions from a very solid, concrete human experience all the way out into deeper, much more abstract waters of meaning. Now, what's really interesting about this is just how versatile the word nonentity truly is across 3 totally distinct categories. First, we have the concrete, your classic physical nobody, an actual person being treated as unimportant. Second, the abstract, so not a person but a state of fading importance. And third, the imaginary, a thing or concept that flat out doesn't exist anywhere outside of the imagination. Consider our first stop, the concrete island. Take this sentence. His old friends couldn't believe such a non-entity could rise to power. You see this narrative in movies and history all the time, right? The classic underdog. The person everyone completely dismissed suddenly steps up and takes charge. In this context, the word highlights the sheer shock of their success. It's the ultimate "I proved you wrong" scenario. Let's move to and see how this builds on our second island, the abstract. Once a famous band leader, he slowly lapsed into nonentity. This is incredibly evocative. Notice that we aren't calling the man himself a nonentity here. Instead, we are describing his fading status. He went from being a household name to sliding into a state of unimportance. It paints a very real, somewhat tragic picture of fame just slipping away. And here we arrive at the third and final island, the imaginary. The rumor turned out to be a complete nonentity. It had no basis at all. Have you ever heard a piece of juicy gossip that spread like wildfire, only to find out later that there was literally zero truth to it? That rumor is a phantom. It represents an idea or concept that simply does not exist anywhere outside the human imagination. Now, hold on, I do need to pause our journey for a quick but super important usage warning. Proceed with caution. While it's a brilliant, highly descriptive vocabulary word, calling an actual person a non-entity to their face is incredibly harsh. It doesn't just mean you disagree with them, it means they are seen as completely and utterly insignificant. It's the verbal equivalent of looking right through someone, so definitely use its descriptive power wisely. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly where our word sits by looking at its extremes. On one side, we have words like nobody or cipher, much like a figure just quietly fading into the background. But on the polar opposite end, we have the shining star on a pedestal, the celebrity or the notable somebody. The stark contrast between fading away into nothingness and shining brightly really drives home the emotional weight of this word.
Try it yourself for a second. Can you recall someone in history, in a book, or even in your own personal life who was initially treated as a non-entity, but who ultimately proved everyone wrong? Maybe a brilliant scientist whose theories were totally ignored, or an artist completely overlooked during their lifetime. Framing their story with this exact word completely changes how you appreciate their ultimate triumph, doesn't it?
So, the crucial point is, a non-entity is a nobody. It is someone or something treated as completely unimportant or undistinguished. Whether it's a person being overlooked in a crowded room, a state of fading fame, or a rumor spun out of thin air, you now have the perfect word for it: non-entity. The next time you find yourself in a situation where someone is being talked over or ignored, I want to leave you with this thought. Are they really a non-entity, or are we all just failing to see the somebody waiting to emerge? Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep questioning.